Coronation special. They would be booed. Hello, I'm H.G. Tudor. The continuing observations and reactions to the fact that Harry's wife is not going to the coronation provides us with much material to further the understanding of the whys and wherefores. At one level, of course, the fact that she's not going is a problem for her, as I've explained in parts passim. But the fact is, it's got plenty of people talking about her, which is what she loves, because, as you know, this is all fuel for her. The fact that people are talking about the fact that she's not attending, expressing delight that she won't be there, hypothesizing as to the reasons why that was, which I have explained in parts passim. But also, for example, the idiots that continue to think that this is a show of strength by her. There are those amongst her supporters who have taken to Twitter, which seems to be their habitual breeding ground for the nonsense that they spout about the Duchess of Industrial Beige, to explain how they're proud of her for taking a stand, that she's protecting her peace, that she is catering to her mental health. It's understandable that these blancmange-minded buffoons form this view about their heroine, but they are wrong. This isn't her being strong, although she'd love to spin it that way. This isn't her flexing her independence again, although she would delight in ensuring that people form that view. No, she's not attending because I've explained that her narcissism deems that it is essentially too dangerous for her to do so, that the gains, vis-à-vis the prime aims, are outweighed by the risks of being wounded, of being repeatedly challenged, of being starved of fuel, and therefore that self-defense mechanism that is her narcissism has at this particular point determined she will not attend. Those who don't understand narcissism, those who don't understand what Harry's wife is, mainly much of the brain-dead shuggers, think that her refusal to attend demonstrates strength on her part, but it's not. She's in essence, at this particular point in time, asserting control by staying in a position of withdrawal because, and she experiences fear, she is afraid of the way that she would be treated. It would appear also that this fear that she has as to how she would be treated if she had attended the United Kingdom is shared by others. More of that in a moment. There are, of course, others who think to themselves, well, why is it that she was able to attend the shushing of the colour, etc., during the Platinum Jubilee? Why was it that she was able to attend the funeral, but she can't attend this particular event? Well, the reason for that is that prior to the Platinum Jubilee, although she had engaged in reprehensible behaviour, for instance, the disclosures made by virtue of the bombshell interview with Oprah, her narcissism still compartmentalised to the extent of believing that people would welcome her. And of course, their attendance was largely sidelined, but she still did her best by appearing at the window, by, of course, turning up at the service of booing and sashaying down the aisle to draw attention to her. So she gained the fuel, and whilst there was some booing that was there, she hadn't anticipated that that would be the case. Shortly thereafter come the funeral of the late Queen Elizabeth II. Her narcissism still deemed that the threats to control were not so great as to merit non-attendance. And she thus turned up. But this time, she found it even harder to deal with as a consequence of, firstly, it wasn't about her, it was about the Queen. And secondly, many members of the royal family, some of whom had expressed their disapproval at the Platinum Jubilee, went even further and completely cold-shouldered her. We've seen the footage in public with regard to the Windsor walkabout. We've seen the response, for example, of the Duchess of Edinburgh, shielding the children and glaring at Harry's wife. The narcissism took note of these reactions, stored them away. not from the point of view of bearing a grudge, but rather noting the difficulty that she would experience with regard to the control of these individuals directly. And therefore, once they come up on the radar again, and they have done so, of course, it makes it more difficult for the narcissism to control them. Furthermore, the narcissism will have regard to the responses as they're being aired now about the disclosures from the Shitflix docuseries, from WA, the interviews that have gone around that. All of this, at this particular point in time, causes the narcissism almost to look over this data at this point in time and form the view, we are going to struggle to assert control directly over these individuals. We are going to compel her to remain away. We'll compel her to throw out some spin about wanting to do so to protect the children, that she's doing so because she's a good mother, etc. Manage the facade. But the fact is, she has run away from the situation. In fact, she hasn't even gone in the first place. It's not a case of her being strong or independent or taking a moral standpoint or protecting her peace or mental health. It's simply her narcissism protecting her. The likelihood would be that if she had attended, she would have been roundly booed. She would have been lambasted in the press, and, most importantly of all, she would have suffered with regard to being ignored by members of the royal family, having to curtsy to the Princess of Wales, the Duchess of Edinburgh, and, of course, no appearance on the balcony. And it's those aspects which would cause her the greatest problem. But the royal family also were concerned that she would be booed on the streets. They're well aware of the plummeting reputation that she has. And Molly Dowrick in Wales Online explains, royal family feared Harry's wife would be booed on the streets if she attended King Charles's coronation. The royal family was concerned that she would be booed by members of the public if she attended her father-in-law's coronation next month, it's been revealed. Buckingham Palace confirmed Prince Harry would be attending King Charles III's coronation at Westminster Abbey in London on Saturday, May the 6th, but said that neither his wife, Harry's wife, nor their children, Prince Archie and Princess Elizabeth, would be joining him. Whilst Buckingham Palace has not given a reason as to why the Duchess and the children will be absent from the proceedings, BBC News' royal correspondent Johnny Diamond has said the royal family had genuine concern for Harry's wife's safety, and added that the royals feared if Harry's wife turned up, she would be booed on the streets. Appearing on BBC Radio 4's PM show, Johnny told host Evan Davis that invitations to the coronation were sent out months ago, and that the royal family has been waiting to hear from the Sussexes for several weeks. He added that, ultimately, it's likely that the royal family see the couple's decision, that Prince Harry will attend alone, as the best option at this current time. Asked if making arrangements for Prince Harry's attendance has been difficult for the royal family, Johnny replied, I'm not sure it's been that difficult. I think it's been a decision for the Sussexes to make, and that may have been a sensitive one. We understand the invitation went out months ago, a sort of save the date, will you be coming, to the whole family. And then the palace was waiting to get word back, he continued. I think they expected it a little earlier than they got it, at which point they send out a stiff piece of card with all the names on it, and back comes the result. That is, Harry, but not Harry's wife, and not Archie, and not Lilibet. And that is sort of everything that anyone is saying on the record. Johnny went on to say that whilst part of the reason for the Duchess of Sussex, Prince Archie and Princess Elizabeth's absence could be because the coronation falls on Prince Archie's birthday, he doesn't believe that this is the only reason the Duchess and the children are not going to attend the special event. Asked if the royal family would be pleased that Prince Harry is attending the event alone, Johnny said off the record, someone from the Sussex team told the BBC, look, the coronation is on the same day as Archie's birthday, draw your own conclusions there, and you could say, well, fair enough, Harry's wife is going to choose to be with her son rather than a father-in-law's coronation. Of course, that individual doesn't understand the way that a narcissist would behave, and the temptation of attendance at the coronation is huge, as I've explained in parts passing, but ultimately her narcissism has determined that the potential threats to control are so great, and sees that now, because of the adverse comments, the adverse press coverage, etc. about her, that it steers her away. That, of course, is a foundation on the truth. Her narcissism is operating on the truth as you would understand it to be, because other people see that it's problematic by having her attend, that people would boo her because they do not like her. And they do not like her because of the way that she has behaved. Accordingly, the prospect of being booed was a very real one, and something that the royal family had picked up on, and it generated their own concern about it. I'm H.D. Tudor. Thank you for listening.